Speaking of Joe Biden, he's the one that denied that there was this Chinese spy balloon. You remember that? There was first one over Alaska, and then it was discovered over Montana by someone looking into the sky. Then they said, okay, it is a spy craft, but it's not transmitting information, and we're covering our military bases with tarps, so they can't look at them. And then, but we can't shoot it down because it could fall in a civilian area in Montana. And so we have to wait all the way until it goes to South Carolina off the coast, and then we'll shoot it down. And they wanted to deny it the entire time. Well, now we're learning that China used a U.S. internet provider to communicate with the spy craft while it was. We don't know who that internet provider was, what the Wi-Fi unit was, but our government had to know this. While it was happening.
Yeah, as you said, lots of lies from the beginning. They knew that this spy balloon was coming over the United States because it had happened before. They just had not told us before. And then, as you said, they wouldn't shoot it down because they wanted to make sure it collected all of its data as it traveled across the country before we shot it down. So just so much incompetence, so much
cover. I mean, or maybe they were competent. Maybe they knew exactly what it was. They're just like, keep the American people in the dark. Don't confront the Chinese. Let them get their info. I mean, it's interesting.
And it did bring up a lot of questions about, is Joe Biden compromised? Because so many of the things he does
is treasonous.
Make sense for American national security, but tends to benefit the Chinese, whether it's covering up for what they're doing over our country with the spy balloon, covering up the origins of COVID-19 from the Wuhan lab. It always seems to weigh in on the side of the benefit of the Chinese.
Yeah, the spy balloon specifically, it was very puzzling. I think that's the right terminology. I think a lot of military specialists in the field of signal probably had some good ideas, but as Commander-in-Chief, even without that technological insight, you got to make decisions that project strength and that posture as much as you have to make strategic and tactical decisions. And so it landed on Joe Biden's desk. He chose to let it fly across the country, and we learned months later, it actually did collect intelligence. It was using American Wi-Fi internet to do it, and it really makes
What a piece of shit president.
So you talk about strength, Joey.
Biggest piece of shit in this country.
And it's not Lloyd Austin.
He probably didn't even know, though.
Maybe it's Anthony Blinken, who is projecting strength.
He doesn't have a fucking clue.
So here's a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, by our Secretary of State with a year in review. And he tweeted this: as I reflect on the miles traveled, countries visited, and intense diplomacy over the past year, I'm proud of our work to build strong partnerships and strengthen global peace and security. Rachel, his claim is that the portraits of diplomacy of 2023 is the strengthening of peace and security.
I remember, because I'm old enough to remember the Reagan years, where we talked about peace through strength. The Biden administration, with Blinken at the helm at the State Department, their motto is peace through war, because that's what we've gotten since Joe Biden is in office. So under Donald Trump, we had peace. He never started a war. In fact, he was beginning to wind down wars that we had in the Middle East. And then in comes Joe Biden with this incompetent that you're looking at right here, who did nothing to prevent the war from happening in Ukraine and between Ukraine and Russia. In fact, they really actually made it happen by giving Ukraine the idea that they could enter into NATO and signing agreements to that effect, which of course made Russia very nervous, because that's an existential threat to them, and they then said, we're going to invade Ukraine. And then I think Joe Biden said, only a small incursion. Do you remember that? And so
minor incursion.
So that happened. Now we've dumped $100 billion into Ukraine. We have no idea where that money's going. Then they also empowered and enabled Iran, which then gave money to the terrorists in the Middle East.
It's a bad movie.
Doing a terrorist attack in Israel.
It's a nightmare.
So now we have war again in the Middle East.
It's just a nightmare.
So I mean, this is and by the way, they've also actually interfered with other countries who have tried to have peace agreements between Ukraine and Russia. So they are the opposite of bringing peace, and it's just kind of comical that, but also insulting, that he would actually put this retrospective with all his pictures up, trying to make us think he did bring peace.
Well, and